hopefully you'll get some fun out of this tonight. We usually do this on Facebook Live, but we also realize that everyone doesn't have Facebook. And then also Facebook has changed their rules to where you can only have one person on Facebook Live. So we're going to move all of these All About ASs to Zoom, and then we'll post them on Facebook. But tonight I'm super excited because I have some of our key leaders at the Angelman Syndrome Foundation with me tonight. And we're just going to talk about all things Angelman Syndrome together. And so I would also encourage you, hopefully we have a chat. Yeah, we do. If you have questions, throw them in the chat, or you can interrupt us and say, hey, I have a question. Whatever you want to do. Catherine, I'm going to ask you, since you are the co-host, if you can just help if there are questions or if people are having trouble getting on, if you could help out, that would be fantastic. So, Kitty, you have another child now. Who's this one? You're on mute. There you go.
Reading myself. Oh. She might just spit up. This is my newest granddaughter.
Oh, she did spit up. She did.
There you go.
Granddaughter, so
Congratulations.
Sweet.
Here's Eleanor. This is Eleanor.
You are so sweet, little baby. Oh my goodness. Well, so for those, I'm sure everyone, I think everyone on the line knows me. My name is Amanda Moore, and I have the complete honor to help lead the organization here at the foundation. And then I have my other amazing I'm going to call them sidekicks tonight, introduce themselves. So Liz, if you want to go first.
Recording in progress.
Sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. I'm Liz Gelazzo. I am the Chief Medical Officer for the Angelman Syndrome Foundation. I am, most importantly, a mom of Evelyn, who is 7 years old, who has Angelman Syndrome. I am my day job is as a clinical geneticist at UNC Chapel Hill. So I do see patients with Angelman syndrome through the UNC clinic. So if you've come to the UNC clinic, you might have seen me there. But then I also lead the larger 15Q clinical research network as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you. I'm sure people have tons of questions for you. So throw out those medical questions. She'll answer them. I'm just kidding.
Fire away.
No pressure. Okay, Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, you're on. There you go.
I'm off. So my name is Catherine Ely, and I think I have talked to some of y'all before, but I am the Family Resources or Support Director, something along those lines for ASF. But also, more importantly, like Liz said, I am mom to Stetson, who is 8 and has Angelman syndrome. He was diagnosed at 17 months old. And so since then, we just kind of jumped into ASF and was by far the best thing that we could have done. So I'm also a former educator. So I've got a background in all things that and special ed and whatnot. So it's just been really great to connect with families and talk to people and try and get some stuff running and off the ground to help families out.
Absolutely. And really quickly, Catherine, you have to tell everyone what you did today and let them know that it's a service that's open to everyone in the community because it was precious.
It was adorable. I wish I could pull pictures for you, but we'll share them at some point. We did. So we started a new program called Friends with Wings, which is a program for siblings and family, cousins, friends, whoever of children with, or adults with Angelman syndrome. So it's ages 0 to 18 is what we do. And this one sweet family has a son in a daycare preschool in the Chicago area. And the teacher asked if she could sign her entire kids class up, preschool class up for the Friends with Wings program. And we said, absolutely. And what we decided to do, instead of having them be on our monthly meetings, I did a little meeting with probably 14 3- and 4-year-olds this morning via Zoom. And I think it was one of the best things I've ever done with this foundation. It was so adorable. They had the cutest questions. But we did a little presentation for them. We sent some coloring pages up to them. We sent some little gifts up to them and stickers. And they got to learn all about their friend Cam and why Cam is the way that he is and how we're all different and different makes us amazing. So it is something that we do offer. We will do it for any of your kids or, even your sibling or your younger kids if they say siblings of a child with AS have questions and they don't know how to talk to their friends about it. It's something that we do, and it's it was a lot of fun. So I had a blast.
I saw the pictures, and it was awesome. And we sent a little package to all of them ahead of time. And I know how much everyone loves to get their little packages ahead of time. So, Catherine, if you don't mind just going ahead and putting your email into the chat box, if anybody would like to schedule that with their classroom, Catherine can arrange that for you all. Kitty, our amazing walk coordinator, special events, all thing fundraiser. Can you introduce yourself for everybody?
Sure, you just did. I'm Kitty Murphy. I'm the National Special Events Coordinator for the foundation. Today happens to be my 7-year anniversary with the foundation. Absolutely love it. Hanging out with my grandkids right now. That's why you see me.
That's okay. I love it.
One's a 2-year-old, so.
Good luck, right?
Yeah. So, I oversee the National Walk, which is going to be in over 50 locations in 2022. Thank God.
Yes. In person.
Yeah, it's been a long haul. And then I help people with their grassroots fundraising across the country, the marathon and the My Marathon. So
awesome. Well, thank you guys for being on. Just so we can make sure we lift up all of we have a lot of other amazing support at the Angelman Syndrome Foundation. And, if there's ever anything you need, I'm sure that we have someone, someplace that can help you. And he's probably going to be really mad at me, but I just saw that one of our amazing longest running board members just joined. And I see him smile. Dan, I'm so happy that you're here. Would you mind introducing yourself to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I didn't expect to be called on.
Well, I'm going to.
I'm Dan Harvey. I'm often known as the father of Michelle Harvey. My daughter is very involved in the foundation as well. And she's about to come by
oh, good.
this afternoon or this evening to hang with Matt. Matt's downstairs. He might pop in any second.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would love to see Matt. So yes. And just so you guys know, Michelle is his daughter, but also has been our IEP resource director for years. And so what that means is if you ever have any questions about your IEP or need support with your IEP, she has been our go-to person. Not only does she have experience with living with someone with Angelman syndrome, this is her background. This is what she does. She is certified in so many different things, and she has been so amazing for our community. So that is a resource that we have that you guys should take advantage of. And I just have to give a quick shout out to Charles Winslow too. Charles is on, and he just is a brand new board member who just joined. So he will be joining us for our first meeting in January. Charles, it's good to have you on. So there's a lot going on. I'm so glad. I'm actually loving the Zoom because I can see faces, and with Facebook, you're not able to do that. So I want to encourage you all, if you have questions that you just want randomly answered by us, please put them in the chat box, and Catherine is going to monitor those. But I'm just going to throw out some questions to our staff. We're going to talk a little bit about the recap a little bit of the year and things to look forward to. But so Liz, my first question for you. And I have not prepped my team at all for this, so I'm throwing them curveballs left and right. If you could say the number one question that you get as, in the clinical setting of Angelman syndrome, what is one of your number one questions that you get? Look at her. She's like,
Never one question. There's never just one question.
Or just maybe like some top questions that you get clinically about Angelman syndrome.
I think certainly among the younger and more, newly diagnosed patients, there's a lot of concern about seizures, what seizures might look like, what do we do? How do we be prepared for a first-time seizure? So, that's how we spend a lot of our early conversation. And then, across all age groups, I think the number one question and the thing that we're talking the most about in clinic is therapeutics coming down the pipeline and helping families understand what clinical trials, what the purpose purpose of a clinical trial is, how a family might make the decision to be involved in a clinical trial. How do they know which clinical trial might be right for them? And then, really just supporting families through that decision-making process. So that's a lot of what we've been talking about in 2021, which is really exciting. In 2020, we weren't talking about how to, decide if you want to participate in a clinical trial because there weren't, a handful of active ongoing clinical trials. So it's been really exciting for our teams in the clinics to be thinking about how to support families through this decision. But that, I think, in 2021 probably is the number one thing that we're talking about in the clinics.
Well, if you think about it, when we were diagnosed, I feel like it's been just yesterday, but 4 or 5 years ago, there was, a small amount of pharmaceutical companies in the space. And now, today there's close to 30. So that says something. And Dan, I'm going to put you on the spot, but when you have multiple pharmaceutical companies in the space, what does that tell us? Dan's like, I was not planning on participating.
Why did I sign up?
Right?
Well, I'll put an even different perspective on it real quick here, Amanda. So Matt, who's downstairs, was diagnosed in 1990, or born in 95, diagnosed in 96. Back then, we were just figuring out what the gene was. And we were struggling to diagnose everybody genetically. Most people were getting a clinical diagnosis back then. And so it was unusual for somebody to get diagnosed as a genetic diagnosis. So it was very, very unusual. So, in the 25 years that I've been involved in this, it's really, from my perspective, very amazing where we've come. What this is saying overall, and so I've been seeing this evolve from where we were first just trying to figure out, the gene involved in Angelman syndrome. The UBE3A gene was identified by Joe Wagstaff and Art Baudet around 95, 96, right about when Matt was born. It took us a while to figure out what was going on with that gene, and the main pathway that we've got for developing treatments now is through things that weren't even on the very early on the horizon back in the 90s. Gene therapy, antisense oligonucleotides. These are all ways. These are, from my perspective as a medicinal chemist, non-traditional drug discovery approaches where we are manipulating it from a genetic perspective, figuring out different ways of activating that gene. Rather than going in with a small molecule to turn on or turn off some protein or enzyme that might be involved. So it's all coming to, those of us on the scientific side saw all this coming to a head maybe 10 or 15, I was looking at it 15 years ago, and, sort of in the last 10 years, it's really come to a head where we understood the science well enough to start developing the approaches. The approaches have been developed at a non-clinical environment in the lab, if you will. Experiments being done with mice to, takes a lot of work to make sure that these things are safe before they move into the clinic in humans. And now we're seeing all of this come forward into the clinic. We have now two ASOs, antisense oligonucleotides, that are in the clinic. We have a third one about to start in the clinic. We have other things coming along the way. So we're at this stage now where we're going to have too many clinical trials. Well, we're going to have so many clinical trials going on that the challenges for the community to support them and for enough subjects to be available to get into the trials, meet the inclusion or not meet the exclusion criteria, if you will. And going back to Liz, I see her still smiling on the screen there. The clinical network that we set up initially to support provide clinical support for families and the entire community is geared up to support all these trials. And this was a very critical thing that the pharma companies and other people work on these trials needed to have out there, so they could have sites they could quickly go to where they had access to a community of patients where they could get subjects in and enrolled as fast and as efficiently as possible. So I'll stop there.
No, because you would go forever. That's what I love about you. Dan is like the person I go to when I'm confused about the science, which is pretty much all the time. I will never forget when I asked Dan to help me understand, the therapeutics and the treatments and what this looks like. And he pulled out his whiteboard and started writing. And I was like, oh, it made so much sense. And I'm sure Dan would be more than happy to chat with you. But I think it's great that you bring up the clinical network. Liz, can you just give a quick overview about the clinical network, obviously about the importance of clinical care, because that's, the goal of those clinical networks, but also the importance of having these, especially now as we move into, like Dan said, it would be great if we had so many that we just become overwhelmed with all the different therapeutic trials out there, right?
Getting there, and we probably will. I think we will see that in our near future, which is exciting. It's overwhelming, but it's exciting. But yeah, the clinical network is a group of 18 different sites across the United States with some global partners as well. 4 global sites right now, but growing. But 18 domestic sites that are really there to provide Angelman expert care. These clinical sites were all selected and, are supported to be expert clinicians, so to provide expert clinical care. But as Dan mentioned, one other thing that they've really served for now is running clinical trials. We know that the success of clinical trials hinges on clinicians who are well-versed in the natural history of the disease. And so they need to know Angelman syndrome in order to be able to run clinical trials in Angelman syndrome. And so this network really serves primarily to provide expert care and the best evidence-based care that we know how to provide across the country. And then secondly, to support clinical trials. And then third, to support clinical research. We have a request for gum. It's critical.
Oh, it's okay.
Critical gum need.
I love it. No, and I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And I think it's so important for people to understand, the scope of the network and why it's important. And also, hopefully in January, I hope you can all stay tuned. We'll be launching a lot of more information about the clinical network and the clinics and what that looks like in our goal moving forward. Our goal of the foundation has always been, if someone wants to get to a clinic and get clinical care, we will get you there, whether it means financial support, whether it means, hunting down the doctor to get you scheduled, whatever it may be. Our goal is to help you to get there. And our goal is also to try to make those clinics within driving distance of all of our families, because we also know there's a lot of burden with travel. As you can tell, I look really tired right now, and it's because I've been traveling with Jackson for the last 2 days, and that means no sleep for Amanda. But it's okay, right? We get through it and we go on, but the goal is to be able to support you in that effort. So if you want to get to a clinic, and that's important to you, please reach out to the foundation, because that is our goal, to make sure that we can do that for you. Liz, don't go anywhere, because we're going to keep going back and forth here, because I got some questions. First of all, Carol, thank you for just teeing up that question for me. I think it's important to remind everyone, yes, there is a ASF conference in August of 2022. It will be the ASF Family Conference and Research Symposium. So every year, the ASF has a research symposium where we bring researchers, clinicians, industry people from all over the world together to talk about the science and the research and all the ins and outs of Angelman syndrome. And then a couple days later, we host our family conference. The family conference was put together to really bring families together. And we encourage families to bring their siblings, to bring their individuals with Angelman syndrome. We will have sib shops. So your siblings can go off and interact with other siblings of Angelman syndrome. We will have, there's just a plethora of things. There's information, the clinicians will be there, the researchers will be there, industry will be there. You'll have education, you'll get to meet with families, we'll have fun. And it's at the world's largest indoor and outdoor water park and theme park in the Kalahari Resort, which you can't beat, right? Water and Angelman syndrome is like a perfect mix. Right outside of Austin, Texas. So that will be the first week of August. We will have scholarships for that. So anyone who wants to go, we will get you there. And so all that information will be introduced in January. So Carol, thank you so much for asking that question. We'll have industry updates, and we'll just have so much. And we will also have a special guest star, which I'm not going to tell anyone about yet because it's so big for our kids, but it is a kid character that everyone loves. And I will say that This person may have a little blue and orange in their costume, and I'll leave it at that. But it's super, super exciting. And so we're really excited about that conference. Okay, quickly, I'm just gonna, like I said, go back and forth. Kitty, I'm gonna ask you a quick question. If you could talk about one of the most unique grassroots fundraiser events you've ever been a part of, what would that be?
Oh my gosh. There's some really, the ones that, there's a lot of really cool ones, but I would say, oh, it's between the celebrity poker tournament and the custom Harley show.
Oh, cool.
That was in Los Angeles. But yeah, our fundraisers out there, I feel like I've got the best job in the world because I get to work and help them use their creativity to raise funds for the ASF. So,
and they're so creative, right? Like there's like right now there's a sibling out there that decorates his house every year with like lights galore. Yeah. And that's how he raises money. He has a QR code that people scan that can donate to be a part of it. But it's a sibling who he's in high school, right?
He's in high school, and I helped him this year with getting the sign. He's in the Chicagoland area up in North Lake.
Oh, awesome.
And they're very excited because they just started this week, and they've already raised over $1,700 with the lights for Connor, his brother. It's very cool.
Amazing. Well, and I think it's important always for our community to understand too, like every amount that comes to the Angelman syndrome is so impactful. So if you think about $1,700 and what that does for the community, this one sibling gives the opportunity for at least 2 individuals to receive an ASF family fund, which is huge. It also, it provides opportunity for multiple families to take advantage of our counseling program, which has been, has been something that's been really vital for our community. We didn't really know the need was as big until we put it out there. And that need is pretty great for our families to be able to have access to someone to talk about, the struggles that can go into either being a caregiver for someone with Angelman syndrome, being a sibling to someone with Angelman syndrome, whatever it may be, that's out there. And $1,700 is $1,700. It's huge. $25 is huge. Like any amount is really impactful for our community. So I love the special events and the things that people come up with. I think they're incredibly creative. So we're going to come back in a minute and talk to you about the walk. So hang tight. So Catherine, I want, if you can just give a brief update, a little bit about what is coming soon with our insurance guide.
Okay, so I worked.
Michelle, don't leave, Michelle.
Oh, is Michelle? Well, you can jump to Michelle real quick.
Okay, really quick. This is everyone. This is Michelle Harvey. Hey, Michelle. And actually, it's Michelle Martin now. Congratulations! You finally got to have a wedding. Oh, can you hear?
Yes, now I can.
Okay,
my dad has this fancy headset.
Right, I know, right? You finally got to have your wedding.
I did.
Michelle's wedding was the first Zoom wedding I've ever attended through COVID. So Michelle, I was telling everyone about you earlier and how you're our IEP resource director. So would you, I'm putting you on the spot like I put your dad on the spot. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means? Like what you can do to support families when it comes to their IEP?
Yes, considering I just got out of an IEP. That's why I'm late to my parents' house today. So I can help parents navigate the IEP process, talk through goal ideas. I mean, really anything and everything. I've joined an IEP by phone once, or I've met with a couple, informally met with a couple school teams that had questions specifically about Angelman syndrome. Does that kind of, really anything and everything?
That's perfect. And the way you can get a hold of Michelle is you literally just reach out to either the info@Angelman account, or you can email there he is. There's Matt. By the way, if you have an individual with Angelman syndrome with you right now, don't be afraid to put them on the camera. I love them. Oh, hi, buddy. I love it. I love it. See, he said Jackson would have done the same thing. He would have pulled it right off. So, there's another one. Oh my goodness. Hi, everybody. I love seeing everybody. So if you want to connect with Michelle, it's really easy to do, and she's amazing. I will tell you that she also runs our IEP bank. If you didn't know that we have an IEP bank, all you have to do is go to our website and there's drop-down menus. So if you're looking for an occupational therapy goal, hi Betsy Black, look at Betsy, look at hi girl, look at the glasses. Hi sweetie. Sorry, I love the babies. I can't help it. Hey Mercedes. I'm loving everybody. You can do the drop-down menu and you can choose like occupational therapy, 3rd grade. These are the type of goals that are set. So that's a great resource to have. So Michelle, thank you. I know you are going to be on duty. Hey, Tiffin, it's so good to see you. It's been a long time. Look at all the, Laura, sorry to look at them. I can't help it. Sorry, guys. Look at all these kids. Sorry, I'll get back to the point. Michelle, you're amazing. Thank you. I wasn't planning on you being on, but I'm so glad you're on. So I love you. If you want to get in contact with Michelle, we can definitely make that happen. I'm just so happy. I just want to stare at all the kids. I'm sorry, right? Okay, I'll get back to it. Okay, Catherine, one of the number one questions, some of you may ask, what's the number one question we get at the foundation? And I will tell you, one of the number one questions we get at the foundation all has to do, hi sweet, hi Deandra, look at everybody, has to do with insurance. Constant questions about insurance. And every state is so different and every state is so challenging. If it could only be easy for our families. So Catherine, if you can tell us a little bit about the insurance guide coming up, and then Liz, I'm gonna punt it to you next. If families are interested in getting a clinic started in their city, what should they do? So Catherine, go.
Okay. I love all the sports references.
I know, right?
Being off of whatnot. So the insurance guide, and Amanda's absolutely correct. We get a lot of questions about insurance, and we do have someone that helps, Eric Wright, who is amazing, who helps. I remember talking to him when we were newly diagnosed for hours about just various options. But the biggest thing is that every state is different. And that is extremely frustrating because there's just no catch-all answer of, hey, apply for the Katie Beckett waiver, apply for Medicaid. There's all these loopholes. You get diagnosed and you think, oh, I'll just get, Medicaid, or I'll get Social Security disability, and it just doesn't work that way. And so what we have worked on, and I was thankful to have some input from the community and just spent hours and hours at night looking up and researching a state-by-state insurance guide of every waiver that is just specific to children or adults with Angelman syndrome. So when you go onto your state Department of Health and look up all of the waivers, like I'm in Georgia and there's a handful, but 4 or 5 don't apply to my son at all. One that does apply to my son is we have the Katie Beckett waiver, and there's a lot of states that do, or the TEFRA waiver. And I am more than happy to help anyone with that, because it is a beast and it is awful and it is frustrating. And we have that, and it has been a lifesaver for us. It provides Medicaid for Stetson because we don't qualify for Social Security disability. So it's exhausting. And when you're trying to do 125 different things for your child to make sure that they have everything that they need, and then you're also having to find insurance and fight insurance, it's just defeating and it's deflating. And so when this comes out, hopefully it's being branded and we've got some edits and things like that to make, but it is every single state, every waiver that your child could possibly get in the wait list. Like the wait list for the next one that my son would get is 10 years. So we have already started that process. So there's things like that, little tips and tricks, diagnostic codes are going to go in there that kind of help you. But that's, it's about it. Because insurance might be the one thing that makes me want to throw my computer out the window every single time, or my phone.
Well, like I said, it's the number one question we get is like, how can we work through this? And a lot of times we get a lot of requests to the family fund of things that insurance should cover, but some states don't, like safety beds. There's a lot of states that don't cover safety beds. So that's why the family fund is so important. So Catherine, we'll be excited when that comes out. And also just to remember, we're going to have that also hopefully via web as well on our website, so you can access that anytime. So, and thank you, Deandra. She's being awesome and putting videos in the chat for us. There is a great video out there about what to do when you disagree with your IEP. And that was with Michelle Harvey, and now Michelle Harvey Martin and Eric Wright. So definitely check that out. So Liz, really quickly, if someone is dying to get a clinic started in their area, what would you suggest they do?
Sure. Before we go to that, I'm going to parlay off of what Catherine was talking about.
Yes, please do. Yeah.
If you are in a state that has a clinic, one great resource that the clinics can provide is usually a social worker who can help navigate all of these Medicaid waiver things. So I know that is a huge role that our social worker plays at the UNC clinic, is helping families navigate connecting with a case management agency that actually can submit all of that paperwork for you so that you don't have to do that. But in each of the clinics, they should have someone who's very familiar with that state specific Medicaid rules. And if they oftentimes are also familiar with the neighboring states rules as well. So it may be something that you can get at the clinic. So if you haven't contacted your local clinic, that would be a good place to start as well.
That's great. That's great.
If you don't have a local clinic, but you have a local clinician that you love, we are always looking to include other clinicians in the clinic network. So currently we have more than 40 clinicians in the US that are participating in the clinic network. We have these multidisciplinary sites, those 18 different sites that are really multidisciplinary sites, but we would love to have at least a champion in each state, somebody who knows Angelman syndrome and is well-versed in the, the multiple medical challenges that a child with Angelman syndrome or adult might have. So if you have a provider, I'd be more than open to hearing from folks about providers that might be interested in also joining the network. They don't necessarily have to have a full multidisciplinary clinic, but we can work with them to help develop that if that's something they're interested in as well.
Well, and that's one of the three pillars that the ASF really works on. We talk about family support, our clinic network, and research. And our goal is, to support clinicians that want to get started in some sort of way. So there is financial support behind those clinics that we can help with, but also if you know someone who might be, if you know a clinician that may be interested, whether it's a neurologist or whoever it may be, just contact us and let us know, and we will definitely connect with them. That's Liz's role for sure, that she can connect with those clinicians, get them involved. The more people that we can get to understand Angelman syndrome, obviously the better. So you can definitely reach out for that. Someone asked in the chat box about like I said, I'm jumping all over the place, about the site locations for the conference. And just so you guys know, they are, when it comes to the clinics, with the conference, what we do is we try to change the location every year to make it accessible for everyone in the country. So we'll switch it from like the East Coast to the West Coast to Midwest to Southwest, whatever it may be. And so what we try to do is really involve the families in that decision making for this conference this year. We actually were supposed to have a conference in 2021, but we canceled it because of COVID. So that's why we're doing it in 2022. But we'll usually put out a survey and just gauge some interest or some feedback from families on where they would like to have it. And then we usually try to announce that pretty soon. So if you have any questions, let me know. And there's a great question in the chat box too. I think it's important, Liz, to bring up. A lot of our clinics can become incredibly busy, especially the one that is mentioned in the chat box. When it comes to getting in touch of the clinicians and leaving messages, if they're having issues, what do they do?
Yeah, so I put the direct email address for me, which is the CMO at 15Q Network at angelman.org. And I can route that message to our admin support for the network. And it is their job to hunt down the coordinators at each of the clinic sites. As Amanda mentioned, these sites with the clinical trials are adjusting to the new increased flow through the clinics. And while this is a great thing and we want to encourage more of that, we know that that's causing a backlog in some of the communication. And so we're here to help with that. So you can certainly reach out to me and I will forward you on to the admin support who will help you get in touch with each of the clinic sites.
And Jenna, we'll make sure that it gets taken care of for you for sure. Okay, so Kitty, quickly tell us, what are you most excited about this year with the walk? And maybe tell us what the theme is.
I'm most excited that it's finally going to be in person.
Right.
I'm excited because we've got 18 new coordinators this year. I love working with all the coordinators, and I love taking on the new ones. Our theme this year is game changer. We want people to be a game changer and a life changer. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be coming out with some good PR around that. The walk registration opens up January 17th. Still adding sites as we speak. And like I said, there's over 50 locations. What was your original question? I can't even remember.
No, that's just
going on over here.
No, it's okay. I know, that's why I was going to ask you and then tell you if you need to go. That's totally fine. Having the kids, I get it. If
my daughter's home.
If someone's interested in being a walk coordinator, what should they do?
Oh my gosh, please reach out to me. Yeah, I'll send you some information. We can set up a Zoom call. I can answer all the questions and help get you started. I'm with you guys every step of the way.
Awesome. So Kitty or Catherine, I think she's already probably doing it, putting, if you could put Kitty's email in there. Yeah, and put the email in the chat if you're interested. Liz, really quickly, the question was, there's a question in the chat about someone whose friend has a son with AS that's always hungry. Is this normal? And you want to address that maybe?
Sure. This kind of insatiable hunger can be seen in some of the genetic subtypes of Angelman syndrome. It's more commonly seen in children with UPD, but it can be a problem across the board. Diet, as Catherine mentioned, the low glycemic index treatment has been shown actually to be beneficial for other children with similar disorders. So like Prader-Willi type syndromes where there is a kind of constant eating and overeating phenotype. And the idea is that higher level of fat and protein kind of satisfies those hunger cues in a different way than the typical all carb toddler diet that most of our children would eat if allowed to eat whatever they wanted to. So, there definitely are some dietary changes that can help with that satiety and keeping kids full. And we know that high fat, low carb is beneficial for a number of reasons in Angelman syndrome. We know that kids have improved seizure control on higher carb, low fat diets. High fat, low carb diets. So it can be beneficial for a number of different things, not just appetite control.
It's a great question. I know that I have the opposite problem. I can't get Jackson to eat anything except blueberry muffins. Literally blueberry muffins for every meal is what Jackson wants at this point in my life. So, really, I'm sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but I know I'm a little bit over time. Catherine and Liz, can you stay on a couple more minutes? Kitty, I know if you need to go, feel free if you need to, but, Catherine, really quickly, sorry, as you were taking a sip, if you can really just quickly talk a little bit about the adult services program and what we're really trying to do to support those who are individuals with Angelman syndrome who are adults.
Yeah, so I think a lot of times people feel like foundations focus on the newly diagnosed, and we do really try and support obviously anyone who is newly diagnosed because it's such an overwhelming time. But then when you become an adult and you start to transition to that, 16, 17, 18 years old, and then you transition out of school, most schools are 21, states are 21 when you transition out. It's almost kind of like starting over again. You've got to find services again. You've got to find guardianship and conservatorship and what's the right direction. And what we have heard so much from adults is that, and parents, is that it's so overwhelming. So we have really worked with a great group of adult siblings and tried to put together just resources that they need, and talking to their parents as families are getting older and parents are aging, like talking about the changeover in care and power of attorney and guardianship and conservatorship, and just really starting to open up the conversation between families. And we're actually looping in our counselor, Shannon, to kind of help us with that. And we have meetings every month for Starting in January, we're going to have meetings for adult siblings again. So anyone who is looking into that or knows someone. And then we also, the next month, we will have meetings for any caregiver, adult caregiver of an individual with AS. So we're really trying to just make sure that our adult community feels supported too, because they have been so amazing and such a stepping stone for all of us who are relatively newly diagnosed. But that's what we're doing. And we have really picked the brains of a lot of siblings, the adult siblings, of what they wanted and what they felt that they needed as kids, so that we can help, you know, the younger generation, I guess, can help support this other siblings and cousins and friends and whatnot to really understand Angelman syndrome and having a sibling with a disability.
When I think what I love about your role that you're trying to play is really to be inclusive to everyone that Angelman touches, right? You know, when we started the foundation 30 years ago in 2022, by the way, we'll be celebrating all next year, 30 years of the Angelman Syndrome Foundation, which is unbelievable. But, you know, at that point, and Dan can attest to this, they're still learning so much. And so the people like Dan and you know, Carol, and I think I saw Sherry on here, you've led the way to really learn a lot of things to help us newly diagnosed individuals really be able to understand a lot more, because I think that there was a lot of unknowns, a lot of, you know, didn't know what physical therapy to do, didn't know what OT to do, didn't really know about all this stuff. And so the fact that there are people who have led the way before us is, one, it's incredibly admirable. Like, it's one of those things that we should constantly be lifting up the people who walked before us, because they have given us the opportunity to have the resources that we have today. So but what we've done at the foundation is we kind of forgot about that, right? We didn't realize that when they turned 25, 30 or whatever, the resources that would be needed. And so I think it's essential for this committee and all these different groups we have around supporting our adults living with Angelman syndrome, of how we can not only support that adult, but support that caregiver, because that's one thing that we're finding as well, is it becomes really challenging for the caregiver to find services, to make really difficult decisions. And so that's something that we've been really working on. And Sherry is actually who's on the line, who sits on our adult services task force, has been really instrumental in helping with that. But if anybody wants to get engaged and involved in that, please let us know, because we would always love to have more people on that committee helping, so we can support those families. So Catherine, thank you for all the work you're doing with that. And also with our siblings program. That's another demographic that we, you know, just now recently started supporting. We should have been supporting for a long time, but, you know, we are excited about the programming that we can provide to help siblings in this journey. I know that tonight, Baden and Jackson were just not getting along. Jackson was beating the crud out of Baden. And I heard several times the fact that he just wished he didn't have a brother that was different. And it's challenging for our siblings to walk that walk, no matter what age that is. And so having that type of program, and Catherine, the work you're doing with that I think is going to be instrumental in helping siblings navigate those challenging questions and those feelings that they have that are completely valid, but they may feel so bad of having. Like, I know that Baden probably feels bad of saying Jackson's driving me crazy. He's annoying and I wish he wasn't around. But those are valid feelings to have. And so helping families through that, I think, is important. So
and you've been part of, we have this Friends with Wings program, and we do these Zoom things. Amanda jumped on the last one for the 5 to 11-year-olds. It's hilarious. And
oh my God, it's the best.
They are there to talk, and they are honest, and we had so many people afterwards email both Amanda and I just saying, thank you so much, because it gives them a safe space to talk about the fact that their brother slaps them, and it's not so fun. But it also gave us, Liz came on last time and gave us an opportunity to really explain what's happening in the genetics of AS in this very age appropriate manner. So if they're not a part of that program, plug them in, because it's a great way for them to just know that they're loved, they're supported, their feelings are legit.
Hello.
Absolutely. Well, and I would say that if there's anything out there that, the people that are listening now, the people that are going to listen afterwards, if there's anything we're missing at the foundation, and I know we need to wrap up soon here, we could probably talk all night, right, y'all? But if there's anything that we're missing at the foundation, please reach out and tell us. If we don't know, we don't know. And hopefully you've learned in the past couple of years that if there's something out there that you guys really want to see happen and you think is really, really important for the community, we're going to work our tailbones off to make it happen for you all. So please make sure you reach out and just let us know what that is. We have a lot of great things coming in 2022. So before I get to that, I'm going to ask my three amazing individuals who came on tonight, one, to very quickly answer, what are you most proud of for ASF in 2021 that has happened, and what are you most looking forward to? So who wants to start? Catherine, Liz, Kitty, no pressure. Kitty, good, thank you for going first. Oh, you're on, there you go.
I think the Family Fund is absolutely amazing. And I'm very proud that we brought that on. I love that we can help out families in need. So, so that's my number one thing that I'm proud of. What am I most looking forward to? I am looking forward to seeing the clinics expand even more because our families really need them. And I'm excited to see there's so much talent with Liz and Catherine and the whole staff. Just see where we can take this foundation and how we can really just do, like you said, everything we can for our families.
I thought you were going to say to finally be in person for the walk in 2022.
I'm very much looking forward. Nobody hates COVID more than Kitty.
Right, it's true. So, and you're right. I love the Family Fund. Just to put in perspective for you all, we started that program in 2019. We've given over 215 grants, totaling close to $285,000. So this program is essential. And if if you're on the line and you've been a recipient of that, we're so great. We're so glad. I mean, that's one of those things. It really is the most fun program of the year to be able to, especially this time of the year, that we can email people and tell them their grants were awarded right before Christmas. It's like the best Christmas surprise ever. So thank you, Kitty. Okay, Catherine, Liz, who wants to go?
You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. What I'm most proud of, I am so proud of the incredible research that the ASF has funded and is continuing to fund that has led us to these clinical trials that we are currently seeing. What I am most excited for is for 2022 for us to hear some updates from these clinical trials that have been going on for the last year. And hopefully see them expand to be able to offer more opportunities to more children to be able to participate in these clinical trials throughout the clinic network, and hopefully, again, bring more opportunities to more kids and adults.
I love it. I think I would totally 100% agree with you. And I think that it has the research that the people who have walked before us have funded in the last 30 years to get us to where we are now is remarkable. I mean, I think we have, some of the researchers that we have funded, I think at least 3 of them at this point have their research that have been picked up by pharmaceutical companies, and it's unbelievable. And so the foresight that our scientific advisory committee had is stellar. So very exciting to see what the next year has to bring for us. So Catherine.
Well, it's hard to follow research and therapeutics and genes, but to follow on that with that, I agree 100% with both what Liz and Kitty have said. But I think the thing I'm most proud about is just being a part of this foundation that truly serves families. I think as someone in the midst of a pandemic, we were able to launch so many programs and provide the Family Fund and the counseling and things that people really needed. And I think I saw on Facebook when one mom did a fundraiser for ASF, and she said, if anything, the pandemic showed us where foundations and where people are really lacking to provide supports for our community. And ASF stepped up, and we made sure that everyone had an outlet. They had what they needed. They had services at their fingertips. Amanda, I think, probably about killed herself being available to this community, but was, and I think we are all better for it. And so that's what I'm the most proud of, is I think that all of the stuff that we have done are so just impactful and instrumental. And I know for our family, it was a lifeline. ASF being a part of this was just a lifeline for our families and the clinics. Most excited about is just to see how this keeps growing. I mean, not only do we have community support and family support, but then you've got these research and the trials, and it's just seeing these things go hand in hand, pretty exciting, and seeing all these kids.
Yeah, I know, it makes my heart happy. I hope everyone that's on this call comes to the conference, because literally what fills my cup every year is to be able to spend time with your individuals with Angelman syndrome. I love you guys, and I can't wait to spend time with you. But those kiddos, I tell you what, they are my favorite. So I'm excited to hopefully see them. I also I saw that one of our new board members joined as well. So we both have Mindy McBride and Charles on tonight, who are brand new board members of the organization. So we want to thank them that they're going to be stepping into a role that can be it's a lot of work, but really rewarding. So we're really excited to have them on tonight. I mean, I'm excited about everything, but we will be putting out in the next, week or so, a year-end review of the work that we've been able to do. But I just want to say that none of the work would be done without the blood, sweat, and tears of our families doing grassroots fundraisers, walking, donating. All the things that you do allow us to be able to support the community and continue to do so, whether it's through our family support clinics or research. We will continue to pound the pavement and work hard for you. But I am so thankful of how this community has showed up during COVID. Most nonprofits have really suffered during COVID, but you've really, really stepped up and allowed us to continue to do the work that's really, really important to this community and live our mission every single day. So thank you for doing that. I am just so excited about what has started at the foundation, but what is to come. You guys are going to be in for a big treat in 2022. We'll have so many new resources. We'll have great information around our clinics and expansion. We're going to have our walk in person. We're going to have our conference in person. It's going to be an amazing year for our community. And so I want to encourage you all as we wrap up, once again, to remind you all, if you ever need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. It can be a criticism, it can be an idea, it can be anything. The only way we know to be better for our community is if you're telling us how we can do so. So feel free to reach out anytime and let us know, whether that's through info@angelman.org, whether that's through calling me personally at 317-514-6918. Catherine, if you'll put that in the chat box, you can email me, whatever it may be. Our job is to support you and love you through this journey from the day you're diagnosed until whatever that end outcome is for us. And so we are thankful for you and all that you have done. 2022 will be an amazing year. I love you all. We went really late tonight. I'm sorry, but if you ever have questions, please feel free to reach out. We're here for you. It's so good to see the faces of all of you tonight, especially there's Landry, those sweet individuals with Angelman syndrome. Thank you for bringing them on tonight. We love you all. We hope you have an amazing holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Thanks for joining All About AS with Amanda. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.